Today, we're going to be looking into credit cards. So, what is a credit card? A credit card is a plastic card that you can use to access to an amount of money that has been established in advance. When you pay for a purchase with a credit card, you are borrowing the money. So, it's like loaning out money for you to use. A credit limit is the largest amount of money that can be borrowed or charged. So the credit card company is going to give you a maximum amount for you to use. An APR, which is your annual percentage rate, is the interest rate you pay each month on the balance of your credit card that is not paid in full. So if you do not pay your whole balance off, you're going to have to pay an interest rate. Credit card companies require a minimum payment, and the minimum payment is usually a small percentage of the total balance. So if you end up not paying that minimum, you're going to get fees attached to it. So let's look at an example here. To prepare for Miranda's first semester of college, she purchased a new computer for $1,000, a textbook for $500. The spending total ended up being $1,050. Wow. I mean, $1,500. And the credit card she was using has a 15% APR. So let's look at this chart here. The full payment was $1,500. The time to pay off the card would be 1 month because you don't want to have any interest. So if you pay off this whole balance in 1 month, have no interest balance. So then the amount that you end up paying for the computer and the textbooks would be the same amount that you charged your card. So $1,500. Now, if you wanted to make payments and you didn't have all the money right away, so we're going to look at a partial payment. So the time to pay off would be 1 year, and each month you'd be paying $135. So since you're not paying off that whole balance, you're going to have interest. So each month you're paying a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. So the ending total with the interest added in is going to be $1,625. So you're spending more money though. But sometimes that's okay. Now, the minimum payment for that credit card for a 15% APR is $30. So if she spent the minimum to pay it off, $30 each month, it ended up taking her 11 years to pay off the computer and the textbooks. So all the interest she ended up paying would be $1,413, which is almost as much as just spending the original amount. So the total amount, instead of paying $1,500, she ended up paying $2,913. So that's a big difference there. So here, it really was not smart to use a minimum payment. So you always want to be paying more than the minimum payment, so you're not paying as much in interest. So let's look at why you have a credit card. So credit cards are helpful financial tools if you do it responsibly. So there's benefits to credit cards. Convenience. So it reduces the need to carry large amounts of money. So if you are buying that laptop and you do have the money, but you don't want to carry around $1,000 in your pocket, so you would use your credit card to pay it and then just pay off that credit card. It's also useful for emergencies. You never know what's going to happen. You might end up in the emergency room. You might have to buy new tires for your car. So it's nice to have that as a cushion for emergencies. And then you can pull your money from your savings or your checking account to pay for it. It also helps protect you from unauthorized charges. So if someone uses your card, then you are only liable for at most of $50. So if they steal your card and charge $1,000 to Amazon and then goes on to wish.com and spends $1,000 on clothes over there, you're only going to be liable for at most $50 of all those charges. You can report your card, and if you report it lost or stolen, then majority of the time you are not liable for any of the charges that person makes. Another good way is to develop a positive credit history. When you are responsible with a credit card, you develop a positive credit history. So, if you pay your credit card balance in full each month, you pay all your bills on time, if you keep the balance low on your card, and always checking your statements for any errors, that's going to create a positive credit history. Why is this important? It's important because if you want to buy a house, you need to have a good credit score. If you want to buy a car, you also want to have a good credit score. And any loans you're going to take out, they all look at your credit history to see if you can handle these larger amounts. Another benefit is online shopping. So anytime you type in your credit card number, you are making yourself vulnerable to have somebody steal your credit card information. So if you are putting in your card number online and somebody steals that, then it's easier to get your money back if it's from a credit card. If you're using a debit card, it's a lot harder to get that money because they're taking it directly out of your account. So they're taking your money instead of taking in the borrowed money. And then last thing is some credit cards have bonuses for you if you use it. So some offer a cash rebate back. So I don't know if you've seen commercials for Chase Freedom Card, they give you a percentage back on different categories. So you might get 5% cash back on purchases for gas or for groceries or different retailers. And some offer points for free or discounted hotel stays or flights. And then a lot of your retailers have credit cards to give you a percentage off. So it's very common to have these bonuses, but you have to be careful to see what their APR is going to be. Because sometimes it doesn't make sense to get a specific card for the bonus if they're going to charge you a whole lot of money in interest. So it's very important to check your statements every month. So let's look at an example of a statement. So you're going to have a first section that's going to be the summary of an account activity. So here's your credit card statement. This first part here is a summary of your account activity. It's going to give you an overview of all the basic information of the card. As you see, your previous balance, the last payment, all your purchases, and then anything else for fees wise. So any balance transfers, cash advances, interest, and it's going to tell you your new balance. It's also going to show your credit limit. So here This person has a credit limit of $2,000. That's as much as this person can charge on their card. Their balance is $1,786. That's how much they owe. And they have available credit. So this is as much more that you can charge. So let's define it. So the summary of account activity includes an overview. The next section, so number 2, over here is going to be your payment information. It's going to list out your balance and your minimum payment that's due with the due date. It's going to have information about your late payment warning and minimum payment warning. So 2 is our payment information. And within that payment information, as we just talked about, it shows your late payment warning and your minimum payment warning. So late payment warning states any additional fees and a higher interest rate that may be charged if your payment is late. So your interest rate can go up on top of a fee. So let's see what this credit card statement shows. So if you have a late payment, you're going to owe $35. And then your APR is going to increase to 28.99%. And then let's see the third section, or the fourth section, minimum payment warning. The minimum payment warning includes an estimate of how long it will take you to pay off your credit card balance if you only pay the minimum each month. So this is an estimate. So let's look at the chart here. So if you make no additional charges and only pay the minimum, it's going to take you 8 years to pay off your credit card balance of $1,786. And then you end up spending $2,785 in interest. Now, if you pay more than the minimum balance, and the minimum balance, if we remember, is $53. So if you pay more than the minimum payment and pay $62 each month, it's going to take you 3 years to pay it off. So the fifth section is a notice of changes to your interest rate. So this section notifies you if the rates of the card will be increasing. So here, any transaction made on or after 4/9 will have an increased APR of 28.99%. And anything made before will have this new APR if you are more than 60 days late to your account. So let's see, the sixth is other changes to your account terms. So this section notifies you if you have any increase in fees. So let's take a look at that. So here is going to tell you if you're going to have any fees, and it's going to explain that for you. Then 7. 7 is going to be all of your transactions. So it's going to reference any number for it. the transaction date, so when you swiped your card, when it actually took effect to your credit card account, and then the description, and then the amount. So, your transactions is going to list all the transactions that have occurred since the last statement. And then let's look at the rest over here. So, section 8. This is going to lay out all your fees. So, looks like we had a late fee. Our late fee is $35. We transferred from a balance and then a cash advance. So these are all the fees. If you notice here, we took a cash advance for $318, but then there was a $10.90 fee to it. And then balance transferred a balance of $785, but then there was also a fee of $23.55. So these are nice things to have, but when you do use it, you're going to have fees attached to it. And then it's also going to show your interest charges. So with the cash advance, you also had interest on that cash advance. And then any interest charge on your purchases. Section 9 is going to have all your year-to-date totals. So it's going to tell you how much you paid for the year in your interest and how much you paid in all your fees. So that's nice to see. You want to keep these low. You don't want to have to be paying more money than you're actually paying for things. And the last part is our 10 here, our interest charge calculation. So this section is going to provide a summary of all the interest rates on the different types of transactions, account balances, the amount of each, and the interest charged on each of those transactions. So sometimes you're going to have different APRs for different things. So your purchases have a 14.99% interest rate, while your cash advantages have 21.99%. So within this statement, you have a $6.57 of interest based on your purchases and $4.79 based on your cash advantages. So that is your lesson on our introductory to credit cards. Please reach out if you end up having any questions.